Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys want to mind smashing that like button, and we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin charts. So Bitcoin on the 4-hour, as you can see, we basically are testing this this $38,000 level. You can see pretty much below it at the moment, but we are trying our best to get supported here. But yeah, if we don't hold this level, which it potentially is looking like we're not necessarily going to, then as long as we hold $35,000, then we will be okay. But yeah, realistically, we want to get back above the top side, say 38,750, and then we could potentially see this move back up towards the upper side resistance. So we could call it an inflection point, but actually we're below this support now, so we could potentially see a move down lower. But yeah, this is all perfectly okay in my opinion. Though we had this nice move all the way up, continuous move up, so now we've got to pull back at least some of the way. Hopefully only some of the way. We don't want to pull back all of the way. But yeah, either this level here or this level here, both perfectly healthy levels for us to pull back to. It's just obviously, as I've been saying, if we lose 35,000, then we will start to not look very good. The Ethereum Satoshi pairing, as we saw it yesterday, was coming back and back testing this important level, and we've got supported from it at the moment, so that is obviously good. We want to take out these highs and take out this horizontal here, which basically lines up with these highs here, and then yeah, we should see an acceleration potentially into the 0.07s. Obviously we've got a big day for Ethereum tomorrow, so and US dollar pairing, you can see holding above this recent high here, which is obviously good. We kind of did wick above these highs here, but realistically this is the level if we're going to start to see some real acceleration, 2900, and then we can basically get wet and wild in this zone before potentially ultimately taking out the all-time high and finding our way all the way up to $8,000. The US dollar, the DXY, is just sideways consolidating within these two areas, which is extend this along within these two areas. So obviously waiting for a break, either into and above here or into and below there. But yeah, you guys know my general views on this. I think we potentially, actually, to be honest, if we were to turn around and move it from here, it actually would look okay as a higher low relative to this low, and at which point we could realistically be targeting higher highs, and that would take us quite bullish. But yeah, so that's right. This is quite important. We take this out, then we will go full bearish, and I think we will find ourselves testing this lower level. So yeah, lots to play for in the dollar. The 10 yield as well, as you can see, still resuming its downward trend in yields, which is obviously its upward trend in prices. So this does need to kind of hold or stabilize, otherwise obviously it doesn't indicate good things, put it that way. But obviously we know these bond markets are heavily manipulated. So yeah, basically what is kind of happening with the 10-year yield is that inflation is increasing, and what is happening is the Fed is obviously behind the curve with any sort of tightening, which basically they can't do. So further out in the curve, obviously the 10-year, the market is pricing in the fact that the Fed is going to have to respond into a weakening economic cycle, a weakening economy, whereas the economy has in theory been strengthening. If you look at the GDP etc. numbers for this whole period, and they haven't done any tightening, so now the market is pricing the fact the Fed will have to do its tightening to try and pull in inflation. And he'll have to do that tightening into a weaker market, and therefore obviously then that is obviously going to mess things up, and therefore indicates longer term yields down. So obviously we're getting basically the yield curve is flattening, with the 10-year basically getting whacked because of what the Fed's doing. But ultimately we know there are lots of moving parts in this. So yeah, there are lots of moving parts, and ultimately if there starts to be currency concerns, or just a weakening dollar, then and people will clearly need a higher yield to hold dollar denominated debt, and then obviously the yield would have to increase, and increase borrowing costs and basically wreck things. So basically they are the whole finance, finance 1.0 is pretty much stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and I think they know they're in their final throes. And call me a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. I mean, it does kind of start interesting all the strange and wonderful things that we've had going on the past year or so, that we never really would have expected. It's like they're preparing for something. It's like they're trying to usher in some sort of something. Hey, but hey, who knows? Who knows what's going on there? But either way, this system is royally wrecked, and it's just basically a case of when something has to severely change. Anyway, stock market's just looking incredible. Obviously, sideward consolidating at highs here. Had a nice wick down into our support, but yeah, I mean, this is obviously looking bullish. Clearly going to be good for the correlation between BTC and risk assets in general. Bitcoin dominance as well, as we can see, Bitcoin dominance testing at this level. We want to lose this horizontal here, and then, I mean, yeah, realistically we could be looking for a nice run in altcoins. We lose this level, come down, eventually lose this one, and yeah, we are basically gonna get wet and wild in the altcoin market as well. Maybe Ethereum is gonna be a big driver of this. Obviously, Ethereum is the main pairing against BTC for the BTC dominance. Obviously, is the biggest altcoin. But yeah, so is this gonna start? Is this gonna actually start to have a nice move down? All in all, it is going to depend on Bitcoin, where Bitcoin does trade. If Bitcoin does lose that $35,000 and people start to get a bit worried about this market again, then yeah, they're gonna retract from alts basically, and then the Bitcoin dominance will go up. But whilst ever we kind of trade sideways, especially in this top half, making plays for the $42,000 level and just oscillating within here, I think confidence, there will be confidence in altcoins, and then if we do bust through, altcoins potentially won't keep up with that move. But ultimately they then will start to get some capital flow back in once Bitcoin then establishes a higher value relationship. So stochastics, the only thing we need to look at here. 4 hour again, was yesterday we were looking at this, is trying to help us maintain this level, but it has kind of turned back down again. Not particularly doing its job. 10 hour, 12 hour and daily, we're going to look at now. I mean, 10 hour still diving, obviously got the potential to turn back up and try and help us hold this 38,000, but at the moment it hasn't. 12 hours diving and daily is diving, 12 hours diving, and daily is coming down. But yeah, we need at least 10 and 12 hours to turn up. Otherwise, I think we may be looking obviously at that at testing down to the midpoint of our range, around $35,000. 2 day starting to turn back over here, but 3 day looking good, 5 day looking good, weekly looking good, and then the bi-weekly, you can see, has now got a bit of a kink in it, and the same with the monthly also. So yeah, I mean, ultimately this read is basically just saying more sideways within the wider range, which is all we've realistically been expecting until we do basically close and confirm and accelerate above to the either above or below. Until that point, we just have to assume we are just going to ping pong around within this range, and obviously ideally in the upper half of the range, because that means we can ultimately ping pong out of it to the upside if we're in the upper half. Obviously we can't break to the upside if we're in the lower half. We can only break to the downside. So yeah, goes without saying. But yeah, quick video today, not much else really to say. Is this going to be a low here and then we move back up to 40,000, or are we going to come back down to the $35,000 level and then try and hold there? So yeah, there we go. Obviously all our eyes on Ethereum for its big day tomorrow. Let's hope all that goes smoothly, and then yeah, and we will see how that plays out for the overall market. But yeah, thank you for listening, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.